What?
It's time now for My Two Favorite Librarians. Brought to you by the Copper Tree Boutique in Dale's Grand Market, located in beautiful, historic downtown Amherst.
Hi, this is My Two Favorite Librarians. I'm Denise Corey.
I'm Chantel Taylor, and today we're talking about books that take place in different countries.
In multiple countries.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Multiple countries.
So not just outside of Canada, but it has to have like more than one country in it.
When I was doing research for this, there are lots of lists about books taking place, like American books taking place in Europe or blah, blah, blah. It's very difficult to find book lists that tell you multiple countries. I did know it was multiple countries.
I found a list.
I was surprised that there wasn't because Goodreads usually has a list for all the Pop Sugar challenges. I'm assuming this is a Pop Sugar challenge.
This is most definitely a Pop Sugar reading challenge prompt, and I haven't figured out what I want to read for this prompt yet, so I used my research for today as my inspiration.
To pick a book.
Yeah. So there is a Goodreads list. There's a list of books that take place in multiple countries, and the way that that list works is that the participants vote things up in that list. So it depends on how many people suggest that book. So I have the top 10 of that list if you're interested.
Give it to me.
Number 1, Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston.
Because, yes, it would take place in the U.S. and the U.K.
Yes. Read that one?
Yes.
I hated it.
Oh.
You didn't hate it?
I didn't read it.
Oh. Well, you heard my rant, though, about how he's not the Prince of Wales.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, that...
You're shaking your head, but it's just because you don't listen to the things I say.
Anyway, move along.
All right. Number 2 is Homegoing by Ya Gassi.
I think it's Gasai.
Gasai, is it? Okay.
Yeah, Gasai.
I read that one a couple years ago with my book club. It was pretty deep.
Yeah, there's a lot of... One of my favorite, sort of content creators that I've been listening to for, probably 10 years. I know. She, in the last couple of years, has been trying to improve her reading, and so she's adding it to, her monthly favorites. It's not just eyeshadow and mascara. It's these are my books. She's read a lot of Ya Gasai.
Okay.
And loved that book. She likes a very, multi-decade, generational family.
Epic. Yeah. Because there were, at a certain point, it was I'm trying to track who all the children are.
Yeah. It's a big.
Yeah. Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Now, this one, I saw it on a bunch of lists. I heard good things about this book. I have not read this book. So it's
What's it called again?
Americana.
Is it YA?
No.
Okay.
It's about this young couple. They're in Nigeria. And the young woman heads to the U.S. and she really has to grapple with being a black person in the U.S. post 9/11. And because
I don't know that 9/11 really makes a difference.
Well,
because
it makes a difference to the other part of this because
Okay.
her beau was going to join her. And then, of course, they had cut off a lot of the amount of people that they would allow in the country.
Yeah, okay.
And so he ends up in London, undocumented. So he's got to deal with being an illegal alien or an undocumented citizen in the UK. And then they reunite 15 years later back in Nigeria.
Oh, wow. It sounds terribly depressing and sad.
Well, they reunite. They get back together.
15 years later.
Romantic?
You tell me when you finish that book.
There's Pacino or Pacino. I'm not positive. By Min Jin Lee. The cover on that one is really pretty. I might just read that because the cover is really pretty.
I see no problem with that.
I am admittedly shallow. And I'm fine with
I
it.
think most people are. It's fine.
So that one takes place in the early 1900s. A teenager named Sunja meets a wealthy stranger at the seashore near her home in Korea. And he promises her the world. Mm-hmm. We've all heard that, right?
Red flag.
Yep. So what do you think then happens?
Oh, she's sold into human trafficking.
No, she becomes pregnant and then finds out that he's married and she refuses to be his mistress and then marries a minister who's passing through town on his way to Japan and moves to Japan.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I haven't read this, but that one does say that it is a epic, dramatic saga with multiple generations.
Not even a little interested.
The Glass Hotel is the 5th one on the Goodreads list, the recommended, by Emily St. John Mandel.
I feel like I know that book, but anyway.
She wrote Station 11,
Oh.
which I loved. And I keep thinking, I should read The Glass Hotel because I loved Station 11. But the description doesn't even make sense to me. I'm not even going to read it. It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So I'm like, it sounds very, I don't know, maybe magic realism or...
Okay.
Number 6 on the list, you're going to love this, Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. Do you want to talk about that book?
Well, first of all, I didn't find that book funny or delightful. I found it was full of bunch of jerks who, like, it was just awful. And the ending where you, like, the movie was a completely different ball of wax. The movie was a very nice, light, rom-com. Very light, easy, lots of shirtless men. Great. The book, no. She finds out that her mother was, like, sexually assaulted by her father on a regular basis, and when the main character was born, her grandparents were just like, oh, we'll burn her eyes out so we can have another one. They were going to drop acid into her eyes, and her mother had to, like, it was horrible. It was horrible. I was not delighted at all.
And this is why I never plan to read that book, because every time I hear you describe it, you describe a different horrible part of it, and I have no desire to read that book. All right, number 7 on the list, The Kite Runner.
Okay.
By Khaled Hosseini.
Everybody's read it.
I have not. Have you read it? You haven't read it?
No, I've not read it.
So, I mean, everybody hasn't read it. I did read 1,000 Splendid Suns by him, but I didn't read The Kite Runner. Number 8, this one I think is going to be my book.
Okay.
It's called Less by Andrew Sean Greer.
Okay.
So the description is Arthur Less is a failed novelist. He's about to turn 50. He gets a wedding invitation. His boyfriend of the last 9 years is engaged to somebody else. So, do you go to the wedding? Or how do you not go to that wedding and look like you don't have sour grapes? So
the invitation is to his ex-boyfriend's wedding?
yes.
Oh, don't go.
So what he decides to do is take all these, because he's a writer, he takes all these literary invitations, and every literary invitation he has to go to, he accepts. So he can't go to this wedding because he is going to Mexico, Italy, Germany, Morocco, India, and Japan. I think it sounds fun.
Okay, interesting.
It sounds fun to me. So I think that'll be the one that I read about multiple countries.
Okay, I'm not...
You're not opposed?
Yeah.
Maybe you would like it. It sounds... No. I don't like anything.
I know, it's true.
Number 9 is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. That one was really popular last year. It was on a lot of lists.
I've read other things by V.E. Schwab, but I haven't read that one.
I don't know that I like it. I do like the cover. It's like the writing is made out of stars.
Okay.
I
have
feel
a vague
like I'm
recollection
describing
of
that very well. And then the final, well, the list went on and on. I only did the top 10.
Yes.
I mean, it was like 150 books. The Map of Salt and Stars by Zain Juhakadar. Nope, that's not right. Jukhadar. Sorry. Jukhadar. And this is about a family. They're living in New York. It's the summer of 2011. Her father, the main character's father, passes away, and her mother moves them back to Syria to be closer to the family. But then, of course, you go into the Syrian Revolutionary War and all that happened and the shelling, and So then the family are forced to flee as refugees across 7 countries of the Middle East and North Africa to find safety. That seems pretty hardcore even for my bleak reading habits. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with less.
I like it.
Less sounds more whimsical.
Perhaps, yeah. Could be.
It sounds like there'll be some comedy of errors.
Hopefully some good food.
Yeah, maybe. Italy.
Yeah. Well, all of Japan. There's good food in Japan.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Germany. India. Okay, yeah, this is all good food. Morocco.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't read the book. I don't know if they'll be talking about
You'll have
food.
to let us know if there's food. I'll be
So-
very cranky if there's not food.
Read the book.
No. You can just tell me if there's food in it.
So those are the top 10 books that take place in multiple countries according to people
Goodreads.
who are contributing the list on Goodreads. But it was fun to read through the descriptions. I added some things to my list of books
To
I
be
want to
read,
read.
yeah?
Yeah.
So I couldn't find a list. So I was going through some of my older books to see if I could find things in multiple countries. And of course, so first of all, pretty popular trope to run across the border into Gretna Green. So I had to go and ask Adam, when did Scotland become part of Great Britain? Like when did they?
Part of the UK.
Yeah. And he said, 1717. And I was like, oh, darn it. That's too far back. And he was like, blah, bitty, blah. And he's like, they're united under one crown, but separate laws. And I was like, oh, so it's kind of a loophole. It's kind of its own country. And he's like, well. And so I'm going with Scotland as a.
I would consider Scotland to be a different country than England.
Especially in those days. So I'm saying almost every historical romance ends up in Scotland at some point.
Because there's always a laird.
And also a lot of the dukes had like Scottish estates.
Fiefdoms?
No, I feel like that's way too, that's like, I can't think of the word.
Middle Ages?
I think Middle Ages is too far back. I don't know if medieval would be. I don't know. Anyway, I feel like
We could just Adam it.
yeah, he's too far away from us. So anyway,
Other people Google things, but we just ask Adam.
another series which actually takes place, like many books take place in multiple countries, is one of your favorites, Immortals After Dark.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, very first book, Paris and Scotland.
Yes.
Second book in the series starts the Talisman Hide, which is basically like the Amazing Race for immortals, where they have to go all over the globe and like get these really obscure like artifacts is a good word. And so like people get trapped in like caves with, what did they get?
It's
with
not like-
succubus or something.
It's not like The Amazing Race.
It is like the Amazing Race. People
I
lose,
am
like,
sure that
limbs.
there were no succubi in The Amazing Race.
I said the Amazing Race for Immortals.
Uh-huh.
So in that one, it's Sebastian and what is her name? She's the cold-hearted. I can't remember what her first name. Caddy, I think they call her.
I don't know. I read the first book. I did not like the first book.
Yeah.
I plan to read no other books in that series.
Third book is follow-up to the Talisman Hide, and they're in South America because that's where they get trapped in the cave and they have to find her. They're also in New Orleans, which is where the Valkyrie are, and they're wherever they left Bowen, trapped to the wall next to the pit of fire. I'm not sure where that was. I can't remember. They're also
Yeah. Go on, please.
whenever the vampires are around, they all have like homes in like Siberia and Eastern Europe. So they have like these big mountain fortresses from like prehistoric times. Not really prehistoric, but they're several thousand years old. So yeah, they're all over the place in Immortals After Dark.
Yes. They're
All over
something.
the world.
They are something.
All over the world.
I want to go to Romania and see the Bram Stoker's castle.
I feel like the Vampire Brothers might be from Romania.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense, right? I want to go to Romania and hunt for Count Chocula. She's just shaking her head at me.
No. Another one of my favorites, the Beard books. The last Beard book, Beard Necessities, which I don't think really talk about because I was reading it
Sort of in March.
No, it must have been a while ago because I was reading at my mother's house, and it's been a while. It's been over a year since I've been to my mom's house. But it takes place in Italy and in the US. So they have like a holiday. That's where one of the brothers is living with his wife, and they've just had a baby, and the family comes over, and then the couple sort of goes off and goes around Italy by themselves, and then they're back in the US because he's the hero, Billy, is a senator or a congressman, whichever is the lower one. Congressman, I think.
I don't know. American politics.
No.
All I do is watch it on TV and spend a lot of time being horrified by it. Before we talk about what we're reading right now,
March break.
let's talk about March break. March break is coming. Oh, also, one more thing I need to mention.
Okay.
I was talking to Kathy today at the Copper Tree Boutique.
Oh, yes.
And although it is very much winter out right now, Kathy says their spring collection is arriving.
I keep meaning to go over and get another pair of mittens. I wonder if I can still get leather mittens.
I would say go soon because it's all spring all the time.
Must be nice. It's all lies, but
It's not lies for clothing sellers. It's just lies in the actual being outside in Nova Scotia in February. But yeah, new spring looks at the Copper Tree.
maybe by March break, potentially we could
Wear a t-shirt.
maybe have well, I'm wearing a t-shirt. Well, not right at the second, but yesterday I wore a t-shirt.
I'm wearing a sweater and I'm cold.
I'm not cold. Maybe by March break it might be less winter-like, more spring-like.
One can hope.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, I wanted to mention that because the Copper Tree Boutique does
Pay for us to come on here and talk to you every week.
quite generously support our radio program. So thank you.
So March break is happening. There will be no in-person programs this year. Everything is going to be virtual. You will still need to register. We are creating kits for some of our different programs. So you can register right away. We're recording this a couple weeks in advance. So registration sheets are going down to the branches. You can start signing up at any time. You can start picking up your kits on Friday, March the 12th. So that is the Friday before March break. Julie doesn't want to give things too early so that people don't do everything before the videos come out. So you can pick up your kit, and then during March break, you can watch along with Julie and Sammy. There's going to be a puppet show. I think there's going to be some science stuff. There's going to be a family game night. So there's all kinds of fun stuff to do.
They're making some Among Us
Plushies.
Yeah. So I believe we have a kit going out with the plushie material so you can make your own. We're doing a spicy food challenge.
We are. I'm not, but
You're not. How did I get roped into this and you didn't?
I may have volunteers, but I may be unvolunteering myself. I can almost feel the heartburn right now.
Yeah. So
I'll try some.
They're going to film us eating spicy food. Julie informed me today that she would like somebody to beg for help within the video, like that young toddler on TikTok. We watched this video on TikTok, and this toddler ate wasabi and was like, "Help!" So that's Julie's goal.
If you Google wasabi baby help, the video will come up. It's very cute.
So yes, we're gonna do a spicy food challenge.
There's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff happening for March break. It's just not happening in person. And knock on wood that this is our last season of not in-person programs.
Oh.
Knocking on wood, Ron, sorry.
Yeah, bad for radio. Yeah, I dream of having people hang out in the library again. Soon, it will happen. All right, what are you reading?
Well, Denise, you're going to be quite excited to know that I've started rereading Immortals After Dark.
Why?
Because I didn't finish the series, and the new book is supposed to be coming out. The 18th book, I think, Monroe is the 18th book. It's coming out in 2021, and I feel like I need to do it again and see if I can push through the characters that I didn't like as much.
So does that mean I'm going to have to listen to weeks of you talking about Immortals After Dark?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The thrill. I can't
I have to
wait.
listen to your horrifyingly awful books.
They're not horrifyingly awful.
They're depressing. Speaking of depressing, I'm listening to a fabulous podcast on CBC called Evil by Design.
Oh my goodness. Yep.
About Peter Nygard. Did you know about Peter Nygard?
Yes.
I did not. I didn't know. It is so good. CBC, you can get it. Evil by Design.
Yeah, he sounds like a terrible person.
Yeah. He's like the Canadian Jeffrey Epstein, and he's worse.
So I'm reading Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid.
Okay, I've heard. Yeah, I've heard.
It was Reese Witherspoon's book club pick for January 2020.
It's a very trendy book that all of the millennials are reading.
So Amira Tucker is 25. She's working as a babysitter for Alex and Peter.
Is she more of a nanny than a babysitter?
Well, she works 3 days a week.
Okay.
Because I'm just at a part right now where she's talking about wanting to, like, she's 25. She works as a babysitter 3 days a week. And then I think she works as a typist for a magazine a different day. So really, like, she's looking at, like, she wants to have a real full-time sort of job with healthcare, because of course this takes place in the US, and if you don't have health insurance, you're kind of sunk. So she gets a call from them one night. She's out at a party celebrating her friend's birthday. She gets a call from the people that she babysits for. They've had a window broken in their home by vandals. They call her and say, will you please come and pick up the toddler and take her to the grocery store just down the road, entertain her for an hour or so while we deal with this. So we'll pay you double. So she thinks, oh, double. That's great. I'll do that. So she goes down, picks up this toddler, goes to the grocery store, and then is accused by somebody shopping in the grocery store of abducting the toddler.
Because she is black and the toddler is white.
She is a young black woman, and the toddler is a 2-year-old white child. So she has to call the parents. One of them comes and straightens things out. But meanwhile, somebody has recorded on their phone, made a video of.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to describe how it works. Made a video of this confrontation that she's had. And then that video gets released. But she does not release it. So this is what happens to her and what happens to that family based on this one.
Based on nothing.
Yeah.
Like absolutely nothing happening. Ugh, which is exactly why I can't read that book. Because I'm so angry.
Yeah. So it's really good though. I mean, I just picked it up. I think yesterday. I'm reading it as an ebook. I borrowed it from our Overdrive collection, and I'm already 20% through it.
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, it's very compelling. So I haven't read anything by Kylie Reid. I don't know if she even has other books or if this is
might be a debut.
But she writes very compelling characters. So, I really feel like I understand this young black woman who lives in a big city, which is not, the experience that I've had in my life. So, yeah, I feel like Kylie Reid writes a really compelling character, and I really want to see what's going to happen next.
You'll have to fill me in as you go, because
You're not going to
so annoyed by that book.
Okay, I'll fill you in, and you don't fill me in on Immortals After Dark.
Every single episode for the next 6 months is going to be I'm reading Immortals After Dark.
I am going to find the most bleak Canadian books to tell you about. All right, so we talked about March break is coming up. I strongly suggest that people go to the library's Facebook page because we have all kinds of programs on there. Julie is doing Tongue Twister Tuesdays. We still have our Wednesday morning story times, all kinds of fun things. Plus, Chantel and I will be doing a Facebook Live
Friday, February the 26th at
3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Although if you can't watch it then, you can watch it after. We are going to be discussing books by Neil Gaiman.
Yes.
And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or find more information on our website, which is
www.cumberlandpubliclibraries.ca.
excellent. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
My two favorite librarians. Brought to you by the Copper Tree Boutique in Dales Grand Market, located in beautiful, historic downtown Amherst.